Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Spellbinders moment of the unfiltered news, where I do the commentary of the headlines that you may have missed from, well, the unfiltered news from the reality zone, where political correctness is not spoken here, done by his news scouts. Alrighty then, let's go to the comic strip for this week. IRS. I'm sorry, but you can't claim 100 million people on welfare as dependents. We all should be able to do that. We're all dependents. Welfare. Anyways, to this week's headlines that you may have missed. This link is a continuously updated chronologically of the breaking news of the manhunt for the suspected Boston Marathon bombers. 3 facts have emerged from this scrabble. First, suspects were considered by their acquaintances as non-political, non-violent, and socially isolated. 2, one of them already has been killed. Dead men don't tell no lies or don't talk. And 3, a local residence that may have contained evidence of who helped these bombers was seized by police and demolished. Goodbye evidence. Does this pattern seem familiar? Think 9/11/77. Guardian, April 19th. Rand Paul, next article. Rand Paul will be featured on one of 7 covers of Time magazine, featuring 100 of the most influential people in the world. This after he captured global attention for his 12-hour filibuster against drones. Reason was the magazine, April 18th. See, this up here, they captured the second suspect. And that's what he is. He's only a suspect. He's not involved. I don't know if anyone has seen the videos on Kraft, but Kraft was there also, and the news media said nothing about Kraft. And these people are the ones that have the little skulls known as the Punisher on their hats, coats, and shirts. And they were there. Makes you wonder. Anyways, let's go on to the next. There we go. Obama and Senator Roger Wicker were sent letters laced with ricin, which is a powerful poison made from castor beans. A suspect from Mississippi was arrested. This article shows the similarities to the anthrax-laced letters that killed 5 people in 2001. The evidence suggests that these were mailed by government agents to frighten voters into accepting the liberty-destroying laws in exchange for protection against biowarfare. Don't you see what's coming down the pike yet? The anthrax found in 2001 mailings was weaponized grade, which means it could have only been produced by a government lab. Daily Censored, April 18th. And also, do you understand that this powder that was in the envelopes was also weaponized? It's not like you just ground the beans up and there's your poison. No, it has some other techniques that have to be done to it to make it as deadly as the anthrax. It's just not making sense right now. U.S. House of Representatives passed a so-called cybersecurity bill that overrules all existing federal and state laws that protect email and phone privacy. It's all phony. Phone privacy. In spite of all these previous laws, companies would be allowed to share customer communications with anyone. Obama has threatened to vote this bill, but he has gone back on a similar premise or promises in the past. We shall see. CNET, April 18th. God, they're just out to do everything that is anti-constitutional as possible. Don't you see? You're being constitutionally deprived. U.S. Mint sold a record 2 tons of gold in one day on April 17 as buyers rushed to take advantage of the manipulated low price. What happens when the mint runs out of gold? We won't have to wait long to find out. They went out there and sold a bunch of paper for gold that you can buy at the price it is, and expecting everyone else going, oh my God, the gold price went down. I better sell my gold, my silver. Oh no, the opposite happened. It backfired on them. Don't you know? Zero Hedge, April 17th. This is what's going on. They're losing this battle. Next, the U.S. Mint sold... Oh, wait, I already did that. Let me go to the next one here. Oh, okay, there it is. The U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee adopted a Senate resolution that pledges U.S. support, diplomatic, financial, and military, to Israel in the event that Israel takes military action against Iran. Ynet, April 17. Oh, that's right. We gotta give our money to Israel. Israel is ran by the Antichrist. Don't you know yet? Apparently you haven't been paying attention to your Bible and stuff. Where the Antichrist is going to rise up from. It's not from the Vatican or anything like that. Oh, no. It's right there in the middle of it. U.S. 24 IRS agents are charged with theft after illegally receiving more than $250,000 in welfare benefits, unemployment housing vouchers, and food stamps. They're robbing you. Don't you see? AP, April 17th. This is what's going on. Next, Obama was livid over Senate rejection of expansion background checks and a ban on assault weapons. He accused them of caving in to pro-gun lobbyists. Joe Biden, the other anti-American, vowed that the fight for gun control is not over. We will get your guns, and then we'll do as we will to you. Bend over and get ready. That's what he's basically saying. ABC, April 17th. If you don't know that, you're not paying attention. Again, video. Congress will use Boston Marathon bombing as a reason to increase federal spending for the Department of Fatherland or Homeland Security and local law enforcement. We are reminded of Rahman's Amia's philosophy of never letting a crisis go wasted. CNN, April 13 or April 16th, 2013. Kansas governor signed a bill that nullifies any act, law, treaty, order, rule, or regulation that violates the right to keep and bear arms. Good for him, as defined in the Constitution and understood at the time that Kansas entered the Union in 1861. Federal agents who violate this law may face criminal proceedings. TAC, April 16th. And they should. The only thing that's keeping us from being taken over by this illegitimate government is our guns. Don't you know yet? Bipartisan task force, in the next article, has concluded that the U.S. has engaged in unjustified torture of suspected terrorist prisoners. It reports calls for the closing of the Guantanamo Bay prison and an end to force feeding of hunger-striking prisoners. These were only sheep herders and goat herders they collected up because somebody over there said, I want a piece of that $1 trillion you're offering out there for inside information to terrorists. And that's what it really was. NBC, April 16th. If you haven't realized that, you're not paying attention again. Drug manufacturer Amgen will pay $25 million fine for giving kickbacks to nursing homes and hospitals and for encouraging drugs for patients who could not benefit from them. Money-making money junkies. AP, April 16th. They're just robbing you. Don't you see what's going on? Next, 2 bombs exploded at the Boston Marathon that killed 3 people and injured more than 140. When bomb-sniffing dogs appeared at the start and the finish lines, loudspeakers announced that it was just a training exercise. Activist Post, April 15th. This tells you this is an inside job. They had all this stuff there, but it didn't work. And you're giving them billions of dollars a year to not work? Come on, wake up. Stop giving them the money that doesn't work. Fire them at least. Man, gold prices fell over $125 a day. And this is on the 15th. 155 tons of paper, that's what I was telling you earlier, meaning contracts, were sold off by the Federal Reserve in 1 hour to drive the price down because they know this. Meanwhile, other central banks were buying as much physical gold as possible at the artificially depressed price. They thought that people out there would go, oh my God, gold's worthless. You don't want that ugly gold. It's soft. It doesn't have any purpose. And silver, it tarnishes, and you don't want that. No, it's the opposite way around. Gold and silver is the biggest thing used in electronics. The price of physical gold now has uncoupled from the price of imaginary gold and is rising now. King World News, April 15th. Don't you know yet? Keep your gold, keep your silver. Don't listen to these scam artists trying to rob you of your actual real wealth. Next article, UK. Scientists have created the first genetically modified pig. They say it was designed to be more resistant to infections, which makes it a sound beneficial. In fact, they are tinkering with nature and have no idea of the long-range consequences of their experiments. Telegraph, April 15th. Think about GMO corn and the French study that they did with rats that after 180 days had tumors all over them and kidney failure and liver failure. This is what they are not telling you. They're keeping you in the dark, don't you know? Man, you gotta wake up to this GMO. It's death to the human race. It's human rat poison is what they're developing, don't you know? Obama signed a law that removed the requirements that high-ranking government employees must disclose their financial transaction to the public. The Hill, April 15th. No, you gotta disclose yours. They can't disclose theirs. Of course not. They're making money hand over fist from being paid off by these insiders and by people there who are paying them off. This is so evil what's going on. This is the end times. You almost gotta think of it that way. Just because of how they're acting. They're acting like the end times. Chinese activists who documented over 130,000 forced abortions mandated by China's one-child policy was permitted to move to the U.S. But now his family in China is being prosecuted in an attempt to silence him to tell about that. New American, April 15th. Our governments are murdering millions of unborn children. It's just wrong. The 10 laws of God, one of them is thou shalt not kill. Well, these people don't understand that apparently, and kill without thinking about it. It's just awful. Video. The IRS spends $60,000 of U.S. taxpayer dollars on an amateurish training video based on Star Trek. Here we go. We got these people spending his money on a Star Trek training video that doesn't even make sense. Aside from a waste of money, the video reveals the IRS considers cash payments, even for haircuts, to be galactic-level crime that must be stamped out. No doubt this was done with tongue-in-cheek, but it does remind us of the fact that all collectivist governments now are moving towards a cashless society in which even the smallest transactions will be subject to government inspection. Excuse me. I don't have a cough button. Strassel, April 14. Man, what's next? What's next? The U.S. government expects to collect $33.5 billion in 2013 on repayment of student loans. The current interest rate of these loans will double in July from 3.4% to 6.8%. It is said that the result will be an increase in profit to the government, but many loans will default because you can't pay it back flipping hamburgers at McDonald's, which will result in decrease in profit to the government. What part of the Constitution authorizes the government to be in the loan business anyways? All Gov, April 14th. They have no right. They're doing stuff outside. We have a president pencil whipping laws left and right, saying I'm the dictator, basically, without saying it. He says, oh, I'm not a dictator. Oh, the pencil whipping says otherwise, Mr. Obongo. Oh, did I use that term? Abomination should be the term. Next. The price of gold fell by $73 per ounce on 4/12/13. This analysis shows the drop was engineered by the Federal Reserve to bolster the perceived value of the dollar. The Fed sold gold it does not have and is constantly driving the market price of gold and silver down so that when the ultimate crisis happens, apparently in the near future, the public will be lost confidence in the bullion as a safe haven, thus making it easier for the new fiat currency to be offered as a solution to the old fiat currency. This report is essential reading. You must keep this. Paul Craig Roberts is a genius in this stuff. April 13th. Idaho video. Officials of a private prison contracted by the state admitted falsifying employee timesheets by 4,800 hours last year to increase their bill that is charged to the state taxpayers. The message in this report is that profit should not be a motive in law enforcement and prison administration. Justice should be the only goal. We agree totally. Young Turks, April 13th. What can they do more? Well, Idaho bans the use of surveillance drones unless a warrant has been issued showing probable cause. Other states and even cities are passing similar laws. Though it's unclear how local governments would be able to prevent federal drones from entering their airspace. InfoWars, April 13th. U.S. The Natural Institute of Health financed a study by 23 universities and medical centers to alter oxygen levels in premature babies. Incredibly, the purpose of the experiment was to see at what point the altered levels of oxygen caused either blindness, brain damage, or death. This is just evil. The parents of the infants did not give consent for the experiments. Yes, 23 prestigious medical institutions participated. You gotta read this to find out who they are. AHRP posted April 13th. They're experimenting on you without your consent. That's what all this GMO is, an experiment without consent. Next, the White House approved a dramatic increase in the permissible levels of radiation in drinking water and soil following radiological incidents that include nuclear power plant accidents and leaks. The U.S. power plants are aging rapidly, and Fukushima-type breakdowns are becoming increasingly possible. A China syndrome! The nuclear industry cannot bear the cost of cleaning up, so they lobbied for weaker standards, so cleanup will not be required by law. Nice. Nuclear-free planet. Posted April 13th. Obama came out and raised the level of radiation that you can absorb as if that's going to make it safe. That's insanity in itself. It's saying 90K will be safe. 90K is right after a nuclear detonation of a 10-ton nuclear device. This is madness. They're going to go to that. You just wait and see. They'll say, nuclear fallout is harmless. Breathe in deep. Go out there and roll around in the ash. It's good for you. Does the day after have any effect on your mind? Have you seen that documentary? Or actually, it's a movie, but it's basically a documentary of what would happen if a nuclear war happens. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. I can't believe they're going this way with their insanity. They're nuts. These people are the real mentally ill people. The people they're calling mentally ill are sane compared to what they're doing. My God. Next, Ron Paul declares that the neocon era is dead and announced his new DC think tank. Thank you, Ron. The Ron Paul Institute for Peace and Prosperity. Its basic perspective is non-intervention in foreign affairs. Beyond that, it crosses all political lines and focuses on education and future generations. Members of the board include Lou Rockwell, another fine person to read up on, Judge Napolitano, and Dennis Kucinich. Russian Today. Well, I usually call it Russian TV because they have their cable thing up there. April 13th. And it's true. Ron Paul should have been our president, not this Obama person. This guy whose name is Barack Obama. Lightning that came from the sky to the earth. That's what it means. Do your research. You'll find that. It'll freak you out. The U.S. Government Accountability Office announced that agencies in the executive branch wasted $95 billion last year. The list of federal programs wasting taxpayer money will make your blood boil. It'll make you mad. It'll make you want to get up and say, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. And you'll open your window up and yell it out. Yes, Network was a very good movie to prove the point of what's happening today, even though that was black satire. It's a dark satire. It's true. It's happening. Personal Liberty, posted April 13th. Here we go for this one cool-off point. Don't worry. The bust is real, but the snake is only a painting. To see an enlargement plus 6 amazing painted trucks, click here. Looks really real, doesn't it? Looks like a big boa constrictor has just crushed that bus. Anyways, now to the analysis for this week. James Turk, founder of Gold Money, says that he is even more bullish on gold since the price dropped last week. If people want to make a profit in the market, they need to buy when the item is undervalued and sell when it is overvalued. Gold has been undervalued for a long time, but this latest price manipulation has made it even more undervalued than before compared to the dollar. Thuswise, windows of opportunity do not remain open forever. This is an excellent analysis. Gold Money, April 19th. Yeah, but there's a problem. They're saying that silver is going for $23 an ounce, and maybe less. Not gold, but silver. Let me get that right. It's silver, but they're putting a $10 price on it for holding it and stuff. It's not what you're thinking. It's actually these people saying there is a lack of silver and gold on the market to buy. So you're going to have to expect to pay more for it than the listed price that you're seeing on any of the gold and silver stock market announcements. I'm blank on thinking of the name of all of them, and it's not my fault. I'm tired. Next. I work for a living. Video. Authorities say they don't know who set off the bombs at the Boston Marathon, but Ben Swan reminds us that the FBI organized numerous terrorist plots in the past with the intent of thwarting them in just a nick of time. The result was to make the government look like the saviors and to perpetuate fear of terrorism in the public mind. This is exactly what they've been doing. The FBI presides over the 1993 World Trade Center bombing and chose not to stop it. Swan says, not conspiracy theory, it's a fact. And he poses a serious question. Could the FBI have been up to its same old tricks in Boston? Really? Check this out. Reality Check, April 16th. I'll have a link to this newsletter so you'll be able to check all these headlines out that you may have missed. Next, Tom DeWeese connects the dots between documents from the UN Earth Charter and the UN Agenda 21 and environmental regulations that are now in every state, county, and most cities in the U.S. What the dots reveal is a plan for global collectivism. Another word, a sweet word for communist control freaks. They who have it all and you would have it none. And the abolition of private property. They want your land. You're supposed to be a peasant. Don't you know? Feudalism is coming back as far as they're concerned. American Policy, April 15th. Next, video. The 1933 burning of the Reichstag, German House of Parliament, was a classic example of a false flag operation. That's what this Boston thing was, false flag. False flag ops are the acts of military aggression or terrorism committed by the governments against their own people, but blamed on government's opponents or their enemies for the purpose of creating patriotic support of the government and to justify violence against its opponents or enemies. Here is the evidence that the Reichstag fire was set by Hitler's Nazis and blamed on his opponents so he could quickly consolidate dictatorial power in the name of protecting the people. The parallels to what is happening in the U.S. is so sobering. It's happening. History Channel, April 15th. It's even on History Channel, don't you know? Last article, something to keep, it has a star. Officials' banking documents revealed that the cost of the future bank failures will no longer be passed on to taxpayers in the form of bailouts, but will be taken from the bank depositors, as was done in Cyprus. It's coming. What they did there was a test of what's coming next. This article explains how this legalized theft will be accomplished. Banks are quietly changing the status of their depositors to that of creditors. In other words, depositors are now considered as loans to the banks, and if those loans cannot be repaid, the depositor lenders will have to get in line for what they can get from the bankruptcy procedures. They will end up not with money they deposited, but with pennies on a dollar or shares of ownership in the bank, which will be nearly worthless. This is the new face of global banking. This is what they're up to. This is why all this stuff is happening. It's the bankster wars happening. Read Mike Rivero's article, The Bankster Wars, and you'll see what is exactly happening here. Goldseek, April 13th. Now the real cool down. This is the great photos of the week. Grandmother, what big teeth you have. That's cute. Little fawn. Loving up to a dog, and he's just loving it. I mean, this dog is like, oh yeah, I love it. He loves it. And then we got the humor for the week. Teacher arrested. Joke. Unfiltered form. What is the definition of freedom? Reply from Gag. And that's it for this week. That's it. This is from the man who wrote the Federal Reserve book, and also the creature from Jekyll Island. This man is the greatest person you'd ever know. I hope you get his book and see this newsletter and read the articles that he's posted with his News Scout. Until next time, this is Spellbinder Commentator saying be good at it. Have a wonderful weekend. Hope you enjoyed this. And have a wonderful night. Even though they do say they may have captured the second suspect. Who knows? Did they really capture the second suspect? Time will tell. And where he lived, the tells of why he did this. If it is him. These are the questions that should be asked. Until next time, good night.